We got a good one to unpackage today. Americans were lied to, and bubble buyers got caught holding the bag. This is really getting serious now, isn't it? You know, it's really interesting. Anybody can tell you what happened or even what it's like now. We need to be forward thinking and critical thinking as we read between the lines and look between the economic cracks. And we just got a lot of big cracks. You know, during stimulus, like we've talked about before, it was a complete casino climate. Be greedy when others are fearful when others are greedy. And even though I had financial gain in these markets, I had to play it safe. I had to stack cash. I had to insulate myself. I had to warn people like, listen, here's the deal. Even as a real estate guy, probably the first agent that came to YouTube and said it. Anytime the markets exhibit bubble behavior, there's going to be crash risk. And we're going to pay the piper and the dust is going to settle. And there will be blowback from stimulus measures, stimulus money, and stimulus programs. One of the stimulus measures was targeted. A lot of targeted stimulus, but they targeted the housing market. I'm sitting at home just like you, locked down, dead in the water. And all of a sudden I get news from the brokerage, you're essential workers and they've dropped interest rates to keep the housing market from crashing. Oh, well, great. Well, it was great at first, but then what happened? The runaway train, it left the station and it didn't come back. And they should have risen interest rates the second. The second. The market started to exhibit bubble behavior. We should have known better. Like, hey, we can get away with a lot of stimulus, but you don't want to overheat one thing, the housing market, because it's capable of collapsing the whole economy. And if we lose the U.S. economy again, it's going to have global ripple effects. Well, that's in fact the waters we're swimming in now. The challenge is I've read this and I've heard about this as I came forward pretty early on prior to interest rate hikes. People telling you this time was different. I would always reference, I remember in 2008. They're like, yeah, but no, this time is different, Scott, than 2008. 2008 was due to subprime mortgages and ninja. Okay. Well, listen, I'm seeing stuff now that's worse. That is the only difference. This one is worse. Bigger bubble, bigger blowback. The reality is, friends, and we've talked about this, in 2008, and it doesn't matter. It's always going to be a different catalyst. Boom, bust cycles. We've always had the boom and the bust cycles have occurred throughout history. So we just went through a really big boom. So anybody with a level head on their shoulders should have known, like, hey, there's potential. But I mean, we're going to have a bust. It's just, is this the catalyst to deliver it? Now, I understand the financial markets, out of self-preservation, have to cheerlead and hope this thing is different. But the challenge is, had they been smart, like you guys watching hopefully today, if you're new, please subscribe. We'd love to have you. If you had insulated yourself and just understand there's booms and there's busts, this is a big boom, I'm going to stack cash, insulate myself, and get ready. That's what I'm doing. If you really want to weather this storm, the only thing you hopefully have done is you're living smaller than you have to. See, society tells us to finance the illusion of wealth. I remember when I was trying to finance the illusion of wealth, it was all about image, right? I had to be driving the right car, live in the right house, and finance the ability to look like the right clothes. Now I don't care. You'll notice that when people finally get to financial freedom, they don't try to finance that look anymore. They can dress however they want. They can drive whatever they want now. That's the true freedom of financial freedom. So the key is now, and I'm very grateful, and I hope many of you are in the same shoes. I took on zero debt, even in the low interest rate environment. I'm paying stuff off. Any of this extra influx of cash I'm seeing, I'm paying it off or I'm stacking it or both. And so now I'm just more ready for what's coming. Plus, even as a licensed real estate agent, the biggest brokerage in the world that's actually doing a solid job helping people, I don't rely on that. I work in real estate the way I want to because I have that type of freedom today. Most agents rely purely on commissions, and their commissions are dwindling, and they drank the Kool-Aid and they went out and got under staggering amounts of debt to finance that illusion of wealth so they could look good on Instagram, Facebook, or wherever they're showing off. Bad. Let me just tell you, that's really bad. So anybody can tell you, get into the data and the tea leaves and tell you what happened or what it's like now. We need to get forward thinking, critical thinking in front of this. What's going to happen? That's the $1 million question. Can the biggest bubble ever produced in world history with zero organic growth sustain itself? Well, yeah, it could. Anything's possible. I would say hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. That way, maybe you come out somewhere in the middle. Better to be prepared for something, have it not happen, than have something happen and not be prepared. So I got a lot of blowback early on, like, you shouldn't be telling people not to buy. You're a salesman. What's the worst that could happen? They insulated themselves. Yeah, but they could have. No, most people now have buyer's remorse. They wish they had watched this channel. They wish now they had watched this channel. Well, I'm going to help you guys because moving forward, we're going to have to get a lot of you out of hot water, and you'll learn from these lumps that you potentially have to take, or these life events, and you won't regret them at some point, but it won't be fun going through it. But it'll be important. I don't regret going through 2008 and suffering a little blowback now, but I certainly don't want to go back and do the same thing over, expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. Now it's an asset to me because I can come here and communicate these messages, hopefully in a way that makes just enough sense to grab a little bit of attention, and with your help, get this message out. So thank you for helping. This was a game of musical chairs, and the music has stopped, and many areas now are exhibiting crash behavior as people that bought in the height can't sell their homes anymore for what they paid for them. Shocker, spoiler alert, the industry wanted to tell you that would never happen. It's happening. Now, there's a lot of agents out there right now, maybe even you watching today. Well, Scott, here in my city, we're still getting multiple offers, even over asking price. There's no crash behavior here. Real estate's local. Any agent telling you that lives in their bubble, in their own local economy, and is afraid to look outside their own local economy. If you're basing the national economy on your local market, you're in big trouble. Let's just say that you're in massive trouble. We've identified the biggest bubble ever witnessed in human history, and it couldn't sustain itself, courtesy of interest rates and runaway inflation, worse than 2008. That's a fact. We see U.S. savings rate now is at an all-time low, U.S. debt at an all-time high. People are bridging the gap right now, depleting their savings, leaning on credit cards. That's a fact. Whew, that's not good. That's not bad. Bad stuff, friends. Bad stuff. So the over 10 million, not 1,000, not 100, million, 10 million people went out and bought at the tippy top of the biggest bubble in history and went above and beyond appraised values. Even in 2008's bubble, I didn't see anybody waiving inspections and contingencies and bidding wars and going above and beyond appraised value. I didn't see that. It happened in this. That's not breaking the wrong records. Those are the people now that are in trouble. Now, had they got into the hands of Scott Walters, and you were my client, I said, yeah, in fact, I'm actually working with plenty of you now, so you can attest that. Jump into the comments, and you'll hear from everybody that comments. That's exactly what Scott's doing for me. We need to examine the property's rent range, even if it's not a rental, because for you to really be safe buying right now, you need to make sure if you're going to carry a payment, which most people do, it's under the property's rent range, just as an added level of security, an insurance policy for yourself. Plus, it's much easier to justify a purchase if it's cheaper to own than it is to rent. Now, that was really hard to do, which means you just have to bring more money down and get some skin in the game. That's fine. You want to buy in this as long as you got skin in the game. If you're not financially fit enough to buy your mortgage down to where it pencils out, you probably shouldn't be buying. There's nothing wrong with rent. Everybody has a stigma of being renters. I'd rather see you be a renter for life, but own multiple income properties. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? But the industry doesn't want you to do that. Society doesn't want you to do that. But Scott Walters wants you to do that. So the reality is this, that ticking time bomb now, the 10 million people that bought in the height of the biggest bubble ever witnessed in human history now are starting to go upside down on their purchases. A lot of them. A lot of them are, and more are coming as we move forward. Why? Because we're exiting stimulus and entering recessionary times. That's just the realities. I didn't create the mess. I'm just navigating us through it. So people no longer, they never did, even if their home is still worth what they paid, if their payment's bigger than their rent range, they don't own their house anyway. They never did. It owns them. But many of them, insult to injury, the house not only can it not stand on its own 2 feet, as a rental if it ever needed to, it also isn't worth what they paid. So that's strike 2. Strike 3, they're out. This is a ticking time bomb. They are now running on fumes. In final thoughts, I come to you as a friend, as a content creator, as a real estate guy that wants to see you not only win in real estate, win in life. Understand the waters you're swimming in now. Shark infested. Shark infested. 10 million people in that swimming pool right now, swimming around with the sharks, my friends, on borrowed time. My anticipation is, and nobody has the crystal ball, most of them will be losing homes. And it's not going to be fun. It's going to be hard. Bailouts will be attempted, but this one's probably too big to bail out because we already threw everything in the kitchen sink at this thing during stimulus. Our backs are clearly against the wall. In the meantime, I'll be here to blow the lid off it every step of the way because it's not only what we need, it's in fact what we deserve. If you appreciate the content, I want to humbly ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Social media links in the description of this video if you'd like to follow me there. Along with links to channels I've appeared on I think you might enjoy. If you need help buying or selling real estate here in America, I have the biggest network of top-rated agents in the nation ready to assist you. It would be our honor and our privilege to do so. Email in the description for you as well. Also, if you're watching from your television set today and you enjoyed this video, gonna love the next video. And there's an easy subscribe icon for your convenience. As always, thank you for your time. Please go make it count today, and I'll see you on the next video.